Good morning, everyone. I'm Christine O'Neill, as he just said. I'm going to be presenting about the bridge stay at our withdrawal management location and kind of explaining some of the services that we have there. This is our beautiful building located right against the Flatirons in Boulder County. Within this building is a 20-bed social model detox withdrawal management facility. We have a capacity of about 25 extra beds utilizing cots. These typically get used on CU game days. We also have a transitional residential program there with 6 beds. This provides clients with the ability to come in for up to 90 days and receive therapy, intensive case management, and just a sober living facility in order to help them move towards a more positive outcome in their life. 2 of these beds are utilized by the 20th Judicial District Probation, and it's a really cool thing that the probation has started working with us, and that they send these clients that are really struggling with substance use to come over, and instead of going to jail, they come in and they receive treatment and sober living, and we work with them to get jobs and get into housing. The other thing that is there is also we coexist with our crisis services, and this has just been a brilliant pairing in that it provides a fluid continuity of care for clients, and that crisis is in the same building, so people that are struggling with psychological issues at the same time as they're withdrawing can also receive a crisis service, and they walk across the hall and they come over and see folks in our detox facility. And then we pair together the withdrawal management team and the crisis team to try and come up with the best treatment plan for this client so that they're receiving services on both ends of the spectrum. In January of 2015, Mental Health Partners took over addiction recovery, the Addiction Recovery Center that the Boulder County Public Health had been previously running. This has been incredible in that it has provided clients with a quick access to mental health resources as well as addiction resources. So within a year, we serve about 1,500 people. This could look like a myriad of things. We get a lot of CU students and other students that come up to visit their friends, people who are struggling with homelessness, or even just your average person off the street who is struggling with, say, heroin addiction because they can no longer get their opiates for their pain, people with DUIs, those types of things. We have a no wrong door policy. We really focus on saying yes to people instead of saying no. This is something that really sets our detox apart from other detoxes in the state. We accept pretty much anyone. Our only exceptions are people that are withdrawing off of large amounts of benzodiazepines, Suboxone or methadone. However, if people come in with prescriptions for those medications, we will take them and actively work with them in order to help them receive treatment and gain access to resources outside of our facility to help them lead a more positive life. Our average daily census is approximately 20 people. You probably heard me say that we are a 20-bed detox. We have 20 beds in bedrooms, but we have a capacity of about 45 people. People stay on cots. Sometimes they stay on cots because they don't want to be in the bedrooms. Sometimes they stay on cots because the bedrooms are full. Sometimes we have them stay on cots so that we have a much better access to them and we can watch them more actively. So basically what we do is we fill these beds with some of the bridge stay folks, and then they're also sitting in the milieu with the other people that are still actively detoxing. They're able to go out and look for jobs and do other things and then come back to our sober living facility. The concept for bridge stay is basically that there are a number of people that come in that really are in dire need of just some socioeconomic stability. This could look like jobs, housing, long-term residential treatment. And these people may not necessarily be treatment bound. You know, they may not come in and really want to go to some sort of treatment that's like, you know, a 90-day program or a 30-day program, but they really would benefit from just getting some of their basic needs met. I always think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how people sometimes, they could be in a desperate situation and be in crisis because they don't have food stamps or they don't have a place to sleep tonight. And sometimes if you make those changes, it changes their entire life. So since October of 2016, so about a year now, we've helped over 73 individuals, and this number is actually bigger than this at this point, gain access to sober living opportunities, such as Fort Lyon. We have an incredible Ready to Work program in Boulder County that pairs people with supported employment as well as stable, sober living. We work with them tirelessly, and they really have helped us to bolster our Withdrawal program that we have. Withdrawal is a really fantastic drug in that it works for both opiate use as well as alcohol, and it blocks the receptors that provide the euphoric state that people get from using those drugs. And we use that for opiates and alcohol in our facility. We do about 15 shots a week, which is a lot. And most of those come from our Ready to Work program. So we're really helping to stabilize these folks. In the same time frame, we've helped over 52 people gain access to mental health resources. This is an incredible amount for these folks that come in that are in just such a desperate state of mind and really struggling with substance use disorders as well as psychological disorders. The goal of withdrawal management is not necessarily to help people connect with mental health partners. Of course, that's the easiest route, right? Because we are mental health partners. But if they would like another resource, we would love to provide that and help them connect with a therapist in the community or another treatment facility. Whatever we can do to help support these folks through their recovery is our absolute goal. And really, I mean, the takeaway from Bridge Stay is that these people gain days, weeks, even months of sobriety that would possibly not happen if they did not have a sober living facility to be in and support and intensive case management. I mean, sometimes, these folks haven't been sober for 5 days in years and years. So it's a very big piece for those folks, and they really grasp it. And, they may come back, but then we just try again. So some of our success stories. We had this gentleman when I first started that was probably one of our most loyal customers. In 18 months, he had come into our withdrawal management facility 300 times. Literally, staff would discharge him in the morning and just be actively waiting for him to come back in about 6 to 10 hours. And he was just in this spiral, and we were trying so hard to help him and connect with him. And I looked at the staff and I said, well, why don't we just offer him a bridge stay? Like, let's just offer it. I felt like my one little grasp that I had was that it was snowing outside. So he had nowhere else to go, and we were warm and we provide food and he had a bed. Well, he decided that he wanted to do a bridge stay, and he pretty much made every staff member cry because after 6 weeks, we got him to Fort Lyon, which is a sober living community. And he wrote this gorgeous letter and was like, withdrawal management and bridge stay saved my life. I was literally thinking I was going to end up dead in a gutter. And instead, you guys provided me with a chance to stay sober long enough to realize that I needed to make a change in my life. I mean, that is an incredible testament to someone that probably would have ended up as a statistic had we not provided him with a place to stay, as well as just support. And sometimes it's the 300th time, and you've offered it 299, and they come in, and it's just that one grasp. I think the other thing that I have to say about that is one of the benefits of the bridge stay is people build relationships with our staff, and it leads to trust, and it leads to guidance, and they begin to say, oh, well, I relapsed today, but guess what? I'm going to go back, and they're going to help me get back on my feet, and they feel comfortable coming to us, and they're not afraid. So probably the biggest question here is like, how is this funded, right? We all know that funding is at a bare minimum. So basically, our social model detox works on a capacity model. We have the capacity to take in a certain number of clients. We're already resourced for that. We have the staff, we have the beds, we have the food. And so these folks just fill part of that capacity. One thing we have to do is once they're sober and stable, Medicaid will no longer pay for their stay. So we switch them over to MSO dollars and use state dollars to manage the cost of the staff in the building and those types of things. The other really cool thing is when this facility was built, they overbuilt for what the community need was at that time. So we actually do have the space for these folks to stay longer than 2 to 5 days, which is the average. So the takeaway from Bridge Stay is that we change lives. People literally are staying alive because of Bridge Stay. It allows people time to sober up and to find a place where they can stay sober while they go out and find a job, while they access resources in the community. Along with support, a lot of these folks, they don't really even know how to fill out a job application. They don't have a resume. Sometimes these housing resources can take so long to get into, and they require so many hoops to jump through that they really need someone helping them to navigate that they trust. But really, it's a small investment for a huge return because these folks utilize so many of our resources. The community is constantly paying for these folks. In regards to the emergency room, we had a gentleman recently who had 427 EKGs in 1 year because he was using drugs, and when the police would come, he would say that he was having heart palpitations, so they would send him to the ER, and they would do an EKG, because if anyone says they have heart issues, I mean, that's like immediate ER. And we also helped this gentleman get to Fort Lyon, and he hasn't been back. And I mean, when you think about someone having 300 contacts with police, the ER, our detox, even our crisis, and then that goes to 0 or even 5, I mean, the cost avoidance in that is enormous. One statistic is that 5% of the people use 50% of the resources. Those high utilizers are using more resources than the rest of the folks in the community. And I always try and point out to my staff and even to the clients that come in that, how sad would it be if someone is having a heart attack over here and they're bringing the ambulance is busy because they're bringing this guy to the ER to go get some Librium. Like, how can we save these types of things? And that's where Withdrawal comes in, as well as Suboxone. We're really working to help people stabilize and find ways to stay more sober. And it is a harm reduction model. Some of these folks may never achieve abstinence from substances, but if they can get to a point where they can function in the community in a more positive manner and not be utilizing all of these resources every day, that is a huge success for everyone. So in conclusion, I think Bridge Stay is the coolest thing. I think it really helps people who have come to our detox so many times to really achieve a more positive outcome in their life, and it also connects them with community resources that they will use for the rest of their life. Well, that's weird that I'm on TV. So thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, I will be sitting right there. Thank you.